All right, everyone, it's time to talk about this Time article, which, I've had literally a dozen people message me about so far today. I figured I would make an extra special, extra video here. And so we are going to read part of it verbatim, actually, just so that nobody can fact check or claim that we're saying anything amiss. Just so that they know this is what it says. I'm going to read some of this right now. This is a link in the description, archived, of course. A weird thing happened right after the November 3rd election. Nothing. The nation was braced for chaos. Liberal groups had vowed to take to the streets, planning hundreds of protests across the country. Right-wing militias were girding for battle. In a poll before Election Day, 75% of Americans voiced concern about violence. Instead, an eerie quiet descended. As President Trump refused to concede, the response was not mass action, but crickets. When media organizations called the race for Joe Biden on November 7th, jubilation broke out instead, as people thronged cities across the U.S. to celebrate the democratic process that resulted in Trump's ouster. Now, first, many of those, by the way, flash mobs that Time is, applauding, were illegal. They violated ordinances against public gatherings. Not a single person, as far as I know, though, was punished for this. That's okay. If it's BLM or a Biden rally, it's perfectly okay. And by Biden rally, I mean secondary to him actually campaigning. Nobody wants to show up to actually see him speak. If it's anything else, it's a super spreader event. A second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempts to reverse the result. Corporate America turned on him. Hundreds of major business leaders, many of whom had backed Trump's candidacy, that is mostly false, and supported his policies, called on him to concede. To the president, something felt amiss. It was all very strange, Trump said on December 2nd. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were being counted. In a way, and I'm quoting this verbatim, in a way, Trump was right. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. Now, let me stop you right here, because when people who are supposedly far left are uniting with billionaires, do you think that that's for your benefit and my benefit, or do you think that there's something desperately amiss? Do you think that something is incredibly wrong? Because the CEOs especially, and the leftists even would admit to this, they don't give a shit about the republic. They don't give a shit about your rights or or anything else that you do. If they're uniting with people that supposedly they hate, it's not because Orange Man bad. I think that there's another reason. The pact was formalized in a terse, little-noticed joint statement of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and AFL-CIO, published on Election Day. Both sides would come to see it as a sort of implicit bargain, a bargain between unions and corporations. Yeah, nothing could possibly go wrong with that one. Inspired by the summer's massive, sometimes destructive racial justice protests, there were no racial justice protests, there were riots in the name of bullshit. There were far-left rioters. None of them gave a shit about racial justice. Most of the time, they were a bunch of white middle-class liberals just pandering to other people to virtue signal, and they wanted to burn Wendy's. They wanted to go and loot. In which the forces of labor came together with the forces of capital to keep the peace and oppose Trump's assault on democracy. I'm going to let you read the rest of it, because it's so sickeningly bullshit that I can't even bring myself to do so. This is a tacit admission of the honk nature of the political situation we've seen over the last year. This is a tacit admission of this. In fact, it's almost like rubbing your face in it. There's no other way to put it. I'm almost stunned. I'm at a loss for words. To describe the situation. You have multi-billionaires explicitly claiming to have worked with far-left, supposedly, unions and craptivists being literally reported on now by Time magazine, of all places. And there are a lot of people that won't even talk about it. Yeah. Or if they do, they'll just say, oh, thank goodness, the election was fortified. The election was saved. We fortified it against evil Drumpf. Evil Drumpf, who was trying to, win enough states to gain the election. We made sure to send armies of lawyers in to make sure that could not happen. We didn't rig anything, we didn't interfere with anything, and we didn't influence anything. We fortified the election. Now, again, linguistic mind control is a thing, and you are totally being toyed with at this particular time. There's no such thing as fortifying the election by billionaires. No, they have a bottom line. They want to make money. If they didn't want to make money, then they wouldn't be rich. They wouldn't be billionaires. Their only goal, if they're interacting with the political system at all, in addition to the business systems that they're involved with, is to make money. They want to maximize profit and reduce their losses and reduce their exposure to lawsuits. That's what a good corporation does. This isn't even a bad thing. In fact, it's a very, very good thing. But when these people start to buy the political system, like with Citizens United, people on the left will say that's a horrible thing. They shouldn't be doing that. Citizens United is a cancer. It's a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad thing. Absolutely. So when billionaires, instead of just going after the election in the form of donations, are literally lending their weight to craptivistic groups and unions in order to weaponize the legal system, in order to influence the way in which states actually hold their votes, is that not fundamentally similar to Citizens United? They're still using their money and their weight. Now, look, do you think that those same billionaires have suddenly started to use their weight, have suddenly started to use their wealth to maintain democracy on behalf of the little person, on behalf of you who is in the working class or the middle class or somebody like me? Fuck that. Of course not. That would be insane to posit that that was even a possibility. Of course they don't care what you think. They don't even want us to be able to vote. If they had an autocratic system and they could maintain it, they would love that because it'd be more efficient for them to make even more money. Oh, we don't need to worry about them pushing to make Election Day a national holiday anymore because there is no election. The fact is that they keep up the facade, the pretense of giving a shit about our republic, and that's it. Leftists normally understand that, but because Orange Man bad, because they've been fed propaganda for years and years at a time, they're going to look at this. This is Time Magazine reporting on billionaires, partnering with supposedly the left-wing craptivistic groups that they themselves support, all in it together with the MSM and the political establishment, and you're still going to call yourselves the resistance. And you're still going to posit that there's any possibility whatsoever that the reason why this was done was to benefit you? Was to preserve a republic in which you have some sort of say? You got to be crazy. You got to be kidding me. Now, no wonder you'd have to be completely insane to believe that. No wonder you're a neocon or a neoliberal. That's about all. Peace out.